We're gonna make the most boring chicken legs you've ever seen.
But boring doesn't necessarily mean void of greatness. Sometimes it just means nailing the fundamentals. And it's also about being resourceful. So what's of equal importance today is what we do with the leftover bones. But before we get there, we're gonna dry our chicken legs off and adjust the skin to protect the meat as much as possible. Not only will this make your chicken legs prettier, it keeps the meat from drying out and helps the skin get crispier. And we're gonna do the most basic seasoning with olive oil, salt, and pepper. Then you wanna pat the salt and pepper into the chicken and flip it over, ideally onto a wire rack. Then put the wire rack back on your baking tray and repeat the olive oil, salt, and pepper on the other side. Then pat the seasoning into your chicken again and flip your chicken legs over so that the side that has the most skin coverage is facing up. Once that's done, you're gonna put these on the middle rack of an oven that's been preheated to 425 degrees. And you wanna pull them out about 50 minutes later when the internal temp hits 175. Then do a crispy skin check. Now these are definitely good enough to eat like any old chicken leg, but I've got other plans for this meat. What I'm gonna do is pull all of this meat off the bone. Now you've got a lot of meat that you can turn into buffalo chicken dip, you can use it in enchiladas, chicken salad, or even pulled chicken sandwiches, whatever you want. But like I said in the beginning, the end in mind for me was bone broth. I do a lot of extended fasts, so always having a stock or a broth on hand is pretty important to me. That's why you see stored frozen veggie scraps going into this pot with the chicken bones. But I do keep it pretty simple, just the bones, veggie scraps, salt, and pepper. And you should also know this, I'm not doing this for the culinary experience. I'm doing this to make a highly nutritious broth for when I break my fasts. I also like to use these stocks and broth when I make things like rice to add extra nutrition to the rice. But for the process, I put enough water in to cover up all of my chicken and veggies. Then I let it simmer overnight so it has time to pull all of the nutrients out of the vegetables and the bones. Then I remove some of the big scraps before filtering the broth through a fine mesh sieve. Then I like to pour it in the mason jars and store it in the freezer. If you do the same, just make sure you don't fill your mason jars to the very top. And if you do use your broth to break a fast, you will be amazed at how much love and appreciation you have for something so simple.